Welcome to Week 3 of Battle Hoops. Team Synapse skyrocketed to the top of the table, overtaking the Island Spirits on point differential alone, while the Místicos, Brawlers, and Amazon BHC all sit down in the relegation zone. The Spirits put their undefeated record on the line against a much-improved Blades team, while the other unbeaten team, Team Synapse, looks to keep rolling against the Místicos. Our game of the week features the Winless Amazon BHC and the Bayou Brawlers, who are also looking for their first win. Both teams need a win, and they need it fast in order to avoid sliding into a hole they cannot climb out of. Let's send it over to our game day announcer, Nigel Clarke.
Welcome to Game 1 of Battle Hoops Week 3 between the Spirits and the Blades. Our Spirits put their undefeated record to the test against a formidable opponent in the Blades, who look to continue where they left off after an impressive 19-point win over the Místicos last week. The Spirits line up with Wave Rider, Island Whisperer, their Week 2 player of the match, Fire Spirit, and Hermit Dancer. Leading the league in combat engagements after 2 weeks, the Spirits need to continue that dominance, looking to keep their combat percentage win above 50%. Our opponents have the fewest combat engagements in the league, winning merely a third of their measly amount of fights. Look for the Island girls of Leilani Akea and Nalani Kealoha to look for fights early on. They both rank in the top 5 for combat wins coming into this game. The Blades line up with Dragon Blade, their top scorer, Inferno, Shadow Strike, and their big man Thunderclap. The Blades will need to have a good defense but an even better offense, with the second best field goal percentage in the league at nearly 58%. Their offense will be put to the test against the Spirits defense, who have allowed the fewest points so far this season. No doubt the Spirits will be paying close attention to Shadow Strike after his 20-point game against the Místicos. Hold on, I'm getting a report from Lisa. Right to you, Lisa.
Thanks, Nigel. The Spirits had been hit with a mix of good news and bad news just hours before the game. They're at a team bombing session at the beach. Leilani, the Island Whisperer, Taya, and McCullough Fire Spirit Pono decided to go paddleboard, and we started as a fun out and quickly turned when McCullough accidentally got stung by a jellyfish, leaving him in a considerable amount of pain with a swollen leg. The team's medical staff is doing everything they can, but McCullough's mobility is expected to be significantly affected in the game. On the flip side, Leilani, who managed to avoid the jelly, found herself in a prime state of focus and energy after hitting the beach. She took the opportunity to meditate on the shore, and something about the calm waves and the adrenaline from the scare has left her feeling more centered and sharp than ever. Her teammates have noticed a newfound intensity in her play during warm-ups, and she could be the key to leading the Spirits through the challenge of playing without McCullough at full strength. Well, look at that. The game's beginning.
It's a close one. Spirits are up 1 at the half. The final score, Spirits 51, Blades 44. The Spirits were able to execute their game plan, taking advantage of the Blades' apparent weakness in combat, as well as slowing down their offense, limiting the Blades' good looks and forcing a lot of bad shots. Leilani Akea is the player of the game for the second week in a row. She displayed her complete skill set, recording 7 skills, winning all 7 of her fights, while also recording a 15-point triple-double. It's early, but you have to think Leilani is an early MVP favourite, leading Spirits to a perfect 3-0 on the season so far. On the side of the Blades, Shadow Strike struggled with the Spirits' physicality. He struggled to find good shots, had 5 turnovers, and lost all 4 of his fights. Inferno was the sole bright spot for the Blades, as he recorded his second consecutive triple-double of the season. We now turn our attention to the Let's game that features the Sankofa Africans and the Desert Falcons. The Sankofa Africans line up with the Ace, the Seeker, the Guardian, and the Sage. Sankofa will need to control the balls if they want to slow down the red-hot Falcons team. So far, they've done a great job at that, limiting opponents to a league-low 31 rebounds per game. Today's opponent, the Falcons, will put them to the test as they lead the league with 41 rebounds per game. Amina, the Sage, and Tariq Kamara, the team's best rebounders, will look to win the rebound battle for the Africans. The Falcons line up with Sandstorm, Desert Rose, their big man Sirocco, and the Calden Falcon. The Desert Falcons come off what has to be the single most impressive team performance by anyone thus far. After their 33-point win over the Amazon BHC, the Falcons now lead the league in both rebounds and assists. So far, they seem like maybe the most cohesive team, with all 4 players sharing the ball and contributing to the team's success. Something's in the air this week. We have another special report from Lisa incoming. Lisa?
Thanks, Nigel. Kwame, the ace Mensa, has had an incredible stroke of fortune just ahead of today's matchup. While taking the detour through his old neighborhood, Kwame stumbled upon a pickup game with some local legends from his youth. After joining in, Kwame found himself in an intense impromptu training session that rekindled his competitive fire and honed his skills to razor-sharp precision. The nostalgic atmosphere and the high-level play seemed to unlock a new level of focus and confidence in Kwame. And for those who witnessed the game, said he was playing at a level they've never seen before. With this newfound edge, Kwame is expected to bring his A-game to the court, and fans are eager to see how this will impact today's performance. Let's hop right into the action.
Africans are up 6 at the half. Falcons mounted an incredible second-half comeback, winning the game 54-49. Once again, the Falcons' efficient offense was on display, shooting a high percentage from the field and getting assists on over half their points. Unlucky loss for Sankofa, who fought especially well in the first half, or disappointed with their rebounding effort, especially in the second half. They should take some positives from this, as they won the combat battle and played well overall. Once again, the Sirocco Khalid Ibrahim stood out among the Falcons, responsible for 9 of the team's 14 takeaways, while also scoring his second consecutive triple-double with 13 points, 12 rebounds and 11 assists. He's vying with Leilani Akleya, our other 2-time player of the match, as an early season MVP candidate. All 4 Sankofa players struggled a bit with the defensive pressure of Sirocco Ibrahim, all recording more than 3 turnovers each. Elevated by his pre-game pickup game, Kwame the Ace Mensa, as well as the ever-consistent Amina Aviola, were the strongest Africans today. Now let's get ready for our game of the week. Amazon BHC versus the Bayou Brawlers. Both teams are looking to secure their first win. Amazon BHC line up the same as last week with Nymph, Panthera, Phoenix and Viper. With a lead worst 41% from the field, Amazon BHC needs to step it up this week. Viper, Panthera and Nymph are the league's 3 least effective players through the first 2 weeks, and it has many wondering if Kalea Phoenix is getting frustrated in the locker room. Brawlers line up with Fireball, Siren and the Twin Towers Ironclad and Snapper. They lead Amazon, but only by little in field goal percentage, coming in with the second worst in the league through 2 weeks. Coming into this week, the winless Brawlers don't have many positives to show for. However, one clear advantage they have over Amazon would be in combat. The Brawlers have the 3rd highest combat win percentage in the league, led by the aggressive Swamp McCoy, who has the 3rd most combat wins thus far this season. Dizzy week here for Lisa. What have you got for us this time?
Thanks, Nigel. What a week it's been so far. Unfortunately, a Violet Nymph has encountered a serious setback right before today's game. While out on the nature walk to clear her mind, Lila accidentally brushed up against a patch of poison ivy, leaving her with a severe and uncomfortable rash on her arms and legs. Despite immediate treatment, the irritation has left her feeling distracted and physically uncomfortable. Team doctors are doing the best they can to manage the symptoms, but it's uncertain how this will affect her ability to perform on the court. Fans are concerned about this untimely mishap, and we'll see how Lila's usually agile and graceful play will be affected. Tip-off is about to begin. Go Brawlers!
It's an ugly one out there. Brawlers 25, Amazon BHC 22. The Brawlers were able to execute their game plan to perfection and finally dot their first win on the board, beating Amazon decisively 56-40. The Brawlers' physical play could not be matched by Amazon, and they dominated the boards and took full advantage of Amazon's combat weakness. On the side of Amazon, there are really not many positives, as they are now the only winless team remaining. We've got to assume their fans are not happy. The team will have to improve rapidly if they want to avoid relegation with only 6 games left in the season. Amazon BHC had no answer for our player of the game, Swamp McCoy, who dominated tonight's game with 21 points, 11 rebounds and 6 wins out of his 8 fights. Leia Phoenix tried everything she could, scoring 18 points and setting a league record 9 blocks, but her teammates, once again, were not up to the task, and Nymph especially was struggling after her pre-game poison ivy mishap. For the Brawlers, Ironclad Johnson dominated the boards, while the rest of the team had an effective scoring night. If you're a Brawlers fan, you've got to be happy with the team's performance, even if it came against a disastrous Amazon team. In the 4th day of the week, the Bizarre Battalion are up against the Shadow Revenants, who both slid to stay above 500. The Battalion line up with Cucumber Queen, Radit Raider, Marble Maiden, and their defensive enforcer, Pugilistic Pug. 5'5", Bamboo! The Pug still leads the league in blocks, recording 9 of the Decline's 15 blocks through week 2. He should have plenty of opportunities tonight, as the Revenants have had 26 shots rejected in their first 2 games, a league worst. The Revenants line up with Voidblade, Luna, Dreadnought and Shade. The Revenants still remain the league's most feared fighters through 2 weeks. Lilith, Lunar and Voidblade Nightshade lead the league with 75 and 98% combat win percentage. Voidblade himself has lost only 1 of his 22 fights so far. Let's hand it over to Lisa. As the players file into the arena, she's going to give us an update on Voidblade's brother, Silas.
It can only be described as a bizarre and eerie twist. Silas Shade Matches experienced an unsettling yet oddly empowering event just before today's game. While exploring an abandoned house on the outskirts of town, something he often does to get in the right headspace, Silas stumbled upon an old dusty mirror in the attic. As he stared into it, he claimed he saw a shadowy figure that looked exactly like him, but with eyes that seemed to pierce through his soul. The figure didn't move or speak, but Silas felt an urge of energy, as if something from the other side had acknowledged him. Since that encounter, his keen mates have noticed an almost supernatural intensity in his focus and movements, as though he's been tapped into some otherworldly power. While some find the story chilling, there's no denying that Silas is entering the game with a newfound, almost terrifying level of skill and determination. Whew! Well, the players are set. Here we go.
Battalion up 7 going into half 2. In a scrappy, low-scoring affair, the Battalion hold on to their first half lead and edge out the Revenants 42-39. Despite being the shortest team in the league, the Battalion did well to grab 40 rebounds and embrace their gritty style of play to secure their second win of the season. The Revenants once again proved why they are considered the best fighters in the league, winning an impressive 27 fights. However, they cannot turn the extra possessions into points as they struggled to control the boards and create scoring opportunities. Tonight's player of the game is Banbo Pugilistic Pug, who took full advantage of the Revenants' weak finishing, recording 5 blocks and grabbing 11 rebounds to go along with his 16 points. His consistent shot blocking makes him an early season frontrunner for Defensive Player of the Year. For the Battalion, Cleo Cucum the Queen matched Bamboo's game-high 5 blocks in what was an all-around solid performance for the Bizarre Battalion. For the Revenants, Dreadnought Grinchar won an impressive 10 fights, but some fans wonder if his willingness to fight negatively impacts his offense, as he was only able to make 2 of his 12 shot attempts. Vex Nightshade had a quiet night for his standards, while his brother Silas, who came into this game with high expectations after his haunted house experience, also underwhelmed. Our final game of the week features an undefeated Team Synapse and a fierce Los Guerreros Misticos team. The Místicos line up with El Harbor, their week 1 player of the match, El Hamcantador, La Bruja, and El Fantasma. Robar El Bayon. Místicos are second in the league in steals per game, led by El Fantasma, who is averaging 5 takeaways per game. The defense will be put to the test today against the well-oiled machine of Team Synapse, who, unsurprisingly, have committed 14 turnovers so far, leading the league in that category. Team Synapse lines up with Nexus, Pulse, Vector, and Week 2 star 7'2", Ivan the Titan Dragger. Pulse check. Team Synapse has been impressive in both games so far. Their league best offense has scored well over 50 points in each of their games so far. Especially impressive, Zara Pulse Ali leaves not only the team but the whole lead in scoring, averaging 22.5 points per game, while also making an effective 67% of her shots. The players are ready, and so are we, for another special report from Lisa. Take it away.
Hoo-wee! What a week it has been for our players. Juan El Juan Reyes has suffered a major setback just before today's game. In a moment of in vino veritas, Juan mistakenly overindulged in pre-game celebration, leading to a severe dehydration and malfortuna. His condition has left him feeling weak and unfocused, casting doubt on his ability to perform at his usual high level. Kevit Empator for fans expecting his usual brilliance today. And I'd like to apologize for my pronunciation. I do not speak Spanish, but the players are out there. Let's dive right into the action.
We are tied at the half at 25 apiece. Well, in what has to be considered an instant classic, the Místicos go toe-to-toe with Team Synapse all the way to the buzzer, resulting in our first tie of the season. It delivered a spectacularly high-level affair in which the Místicos were able to hold Team Synapse to under 50 points for the first time this season. The Místicos controlled the boards, but Team Synapse effective defense forced 17 turnovers and kept on in the game all the way until the end. Our player of the game is El Fantasma Mael Vargas. His 20 point, 14 renowns and 8 combat wins were all game highs, leaving absolutely no doubt who the best player in the battle pit was today. Next to El Fantasma La Bruja also stepped up to the challenge, and together the two were able to make up for El Jaguares, who was noticeably struggling after his strange pre-game drinks. A solid all-round performance by Team Synapse. Zara Pulse Ali had her first slower game of the season, scoring only 12 points compared to 22.5 per game average coming into today.
Welcome to the Week 3 recap of Battle Hoops. An eventful Week 3 delivered a series of close-fought games in which the Spirits were able to keep their perfect record going. Team Amazon lost an important relegation match and will have to look to Week 4 to get their first point on the board. Rounding out the week, we had our first tie of the season between the Místicos and Team Synapse, while the Falcons and the Bizarre Battalion both improved their records to 2-1. The Spirits retake the top of the table after Synapse was only able to come away with a tie this week, while the Falcons look to close the distance to the top after their second win in a row. At the bottom of the table, the Brawlers breathe a sigh of relief in the relegation battle as their win over Amazon BHC now moves them out of the play-down spots, moving them ahead of the Revenants and Africans. Things are looking grim for Amazon, who are without any points so far. Their negative 62 scoring differential puts them in a league of their own down at the bottom. The Week 3 MVP goes to El Fantasma Mateo Vargas. Mateo was able to live up to the expectations of Místico fans in this one, willing his team to a close-fought tie against league-leading Synapse. Facing off against the impressive team, Mateo left no doubt who was the best player in a near-flawless 20-point scoring performance. After this week's performance, we have to consider Mateo as one of the league's premier players going forward. After a slower Week 3 performance, Zara Pulse Ali drops back to second place as Nalani Tealoha retakes the top of the scoring leaderboard in what looks like to be a two-girl race for the first ever Battle Hoops scoring title. The Twin Towers of the Bayou Brawlers continue to lead the league in rebounding, with Rusty Johnson now taking the place atop the rankings, just ahead of Snapper. Two-time player of the match, Leilani Akea, now takes the lead for most assists per game. She is one of the main reasons for the Spirits' success so far, and has to be considered as one of the favorites for league MVP. Nalani Kealoha remains the league leader in steals, now tied with Khalid Siroko Ibrahim after his league record 9 steals this week. Bamboo has led the league in blocks since Week 1, maintaining his dominance in the paint. So far, he's the enforcer of the league and an early favorite for Defensive Player of the Year. Vex Nightshade is leagues above the rest of the league when it comes to combat. Next to him, Leilani Atea and Swamp McCoy seem to separate themselves from the rest of the league as the next two best fighters. Kwame Mensah now leaves the league in turnovers for a third week in a row. Close behind him is still La Bruja Isabella Morales, who's been careless with the ball all season. Looking ahead to Week 4, the Spirits look to stay undefeated against Week 3 MVP El Fantasma and the Místicos. Amazon BHC continued their search for a win against the struggling Sankofa Africans. We can't wait for Week 4. Thanks for watching.